Hey, Sydney, how are you doing?
Hey there, doing all right. Nice to be joining both of you guys again today. Tom, how are you?
I'm good.
It's
I'm good.
good to be joining you.
Yeah, so definitely super long day time. But before we start, I heard that you had an interesting interview earlier with a great leftist friend, Dean Blundell. How did that
Yeah,
go?
yeah, that was pretty. It's the second time I went on Dean's show. Um, he makes it interesting, and the reason I agreed to go on the show, which is what I told him before I agreed to go on the show. I said, look, the reason I'm going to go on the show is this. Justin Trudeau and many of the politicians have spent years ripping this country apart, and I kind of felt like Dean Blundell and I, who are absolutely diametrically opposed in all of our views, had an opportunity to set a good example on two people that are so on the opposite sides of the spectrum in terms of what we believe about COVID-19, the government, and all that kind of stuff. It was a great opportunity to set an example, to have a dialogue, because that's what's been missing in this country for almost 3 years and maybe longer than that. But we hear these stories consistently all across Canada where, you know, because different family members had opposing views about COVID-19 and mandates and PCR tests. And, we heard people were not allowed to go to their own family members unless they showed a rapid test trying to get in for Thanksgiving dinner. And so, we have been polite. I feel like on our side of the issue, we've been polite for quite a long time. We've been respectful of our friends, our family, our coworkers. And I thought, let's put our money where the mouth is. And, I agreed to go on Dean's show. It's the second time I've gone on, but unfortunately there was a couple people that joined that were, one of them's an Ottawa resident, pretty hostile guy, felt that he had a grievance, like a pretty vicious grievance at times. And then this lawyer, I don't know if she's a real lawyer, to be honest with you. I'm not sure she's a real lawyer, but she joined the panel as well. And it was a little bit of I don't want to say it was an ambush, because Dean told me they were going to be on it just before they were on it, and I agreed to still go on it. So technically, I walked into the lion's den. Yeah, that's the original Dean Blundell from September. But today was a new one. And, as far as I'm concerned, is you've got to be willing to take the tough interviews and have the tough discussions. You can't just live in an echo chamber. You gotta be able to lead by example and say, I can have a respectful discourse. Yeah, it did devolve. It devolved quite a bit. And I could sense this poly guy's frustration. It got out of control, but I just didn't engage in it. Luckily for me, the internet connection was really bad. So a lot of what I said wasn't even really heard anyway, but yeah, a lot of the viewers were lighting me up pretty good on the chat. But you know what? I still think, as vicious as it was at times, it was still worth giving it an attempt.
We need to pass that law. We need to make sure that we make good on our commitment to implement the buyback program on a national ban for assault-style rifles, because those guns have no place in any community. They were designed for one purpose, and that is to kill people using maximum lethal force in the shortest period of time.
These guns have no place in our community, but Justin Trudeau has absolutely no issue whatsoever hanging around 4 people everywhere he walks that have 2 of those in their pockets, because he knows that's how he defend himself. Yeah. And if you make them illegal, only the bad guys are going to have that's the issue. I know in Canada we're not living in a culture necessarily in the east part of in the East Coast that is used to living with guns. But when you really think about it, if someone comes in a bank and has a gun and wants to steal the bank, or wants to shoot people in the bank, if he comes in the bank, he's the only one with a gun. Everyone's going to submit to what he's saying. If he comes in a bank, he gets a gun out, and you live in somewhere like Texas where everyone has guns. You go in a bank, you get your gun, you've got 50 guns pointing at you around you. You're not going to do any damage. But It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they're not realizing their own hypocrisy, saying that guns have absolutely no purpose in our life when they're walking with people that have some in their pockets every day. That's the liberal government.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, what we do know is that I think the Association of Police Chiefs have, or in other police chiefs out there across Canada, have come out and publicly said, look, this weapon ban is irrelevant because the crimes, the vast majority of the crimes are not being completed. They're not being completed or executed by legal gun owners.
Exactly.
So why are you targeting the wrong people and taking legal, registered, PAL licensed firearms from people?
Plus, it doesn't even address the issue of gun smuggling at the border.
Yes.
I interviewed an NDP MP last summer in June, and I asked him, how is this policy going to affect the gun smuggling? How is it going to have an impact on the issue of gun smuggling at the border? And he admitted it won't do
Nothing.
It won't do anything. It'll keep guns away from the good guys.
Yes.
It'll make it easier for bad guys to do bad things with guns because they're going to be the only ones that have guns in their hands. It's unbelievable that the Liberal government is even thinking about policies as atrocious and ridiculous as these.
I personally, I think they should have just left it alone because we have the PAL course for both restricted and non-restricted weapons. And we have a lot of safety mechanisms in place to guarantee, well, not to guarantee, but ensure that a legal firearm owner has it in a vault with trigger guards, separate ammo. We have all these precautions in place. So why are you targeting the most compliant gun owners in the entire equation? And we're not focusing our effort exactly on the borders where a lot of we knew. I called it the summer of the gun a couple of years ago in Toronto. It seemed like every 2-3 days somebody was getting shot. The summer before that, because I lived in the GTA in North York, everybody was getting stabbed. And then we transitioned to the gun the next summer. And now all of a sudden we're focusing on the wrong kind of gun issue altogether. We're targeting legal gun owners that are acting safe and responsibly, and we're not addressing the issue at the border.